patch after patch after patch, which makes us change our tactics, right, guys? It's an updated tactics video for the 4411 after the recent patch. New roles have been added, and I have extensively tested out these roles. Classic 10 is the most prominent role that has been added. Another role has been added for the CDM, which is wide half, which we will also talk about, since the 4213 is a great formation and it is also being used at the pro events, right? So this is the instruction that has been added. A defensive midfielder charged with marking and covering the sides of the pitch when needed. So this is how it looks like on the balls. Let's say if the fullback is overlapping, right? He's an attacking wingback or a wingback. This is how your wide half will be situated on wingback. This is how the wide half will be situated when your fullback is attacking. Now, see, this gives us cover, yeah? This gives us cover. Let's say if you play both of them as an attacking wingback and put both of these CDMs as wide halves. Now, although your wings are being marked, but the center is very empty. Yes, there are instances where you can use it, and I'll show you those instances. I have even made a video about Classic 10 in game where I've shown you in-game examples of how a Classic 10 is with the ball, right? So they won't really show it here, but on Classic 10, your cam almost plays like a second striker. Yeah, they are next to the defender, and that can often leave gaps between your midfield and the cam. The whole point of having a cam is to connect your midfield with your attack. That is one of the reasons I do not use Classic 10, or I don't like Classic 10, right? But there are some instances where you can use it. Now, if you are someone who wants to play a 4-4-1-1, but you want more from your cam in the attacking third, right? You are not very concerned about them connecting the midfield with the attack. In that case, you can use Classic 10. We have Shadow Striker as well. Shadow Striker versus Classic 10. Now, Shadow Striker gives you more of a attacking cam compared to Classic 10. Whereas a Classic 10, they tend to drop a little bit deep sometimes, but not as deep as a playmaker. And they tend to go forwards, but not as forwards as a Shadow Striker during the build-up, right? So if you want that middle ground, Classic 10 might be for you. But for me, in the current meta, when the first time through ball is so overpowered, you need the cam to be playmaker. This is what you would see with most pros. Now, holding versus box to box. With holding, your defense is locked. They are always staying back, right? And I feel holding is really good. Why am I using Kane? He has pinged pass. So you need pinged pass to connect your midfield with your cam and your strikers. Pinged pass is really game changing. This is important, guys. I use winger, right? This is how it looks like on winger. Now, some people complain that, okay, attack is isolated when you are using winger. Now, it depends on your own playstyle as well. This is why I say copying custom tactics only takes you so far. This is both on inside forward, right? Now, it's good, but there are options lacking on the wings. Let's say if your Theo Hernandez is a wing back, okay, it would make sense, but I am using him as a fullback. So if you want more from your LM and RM, I would suggest putting one of them on inside forward. Let's say if the LM is inside forward, then I would suggest using Theo as a wing back. Me personally, I prefer fullback, winger. And if you're not going to use wing back, then you need to trigger a lot of manual runs. You need to be good at timing those manual runs on the fullback so you can create a 2 versus 1, and you need to have an overlapping run. If there is no overlap, there is only so much you can do in attack. You need to go out wides to pull the ball back. Important thing is to understand how tactics work in game. So that is my suggestion, right? Am I going to stick to winger? Yes, that is my play style. I like them out wide. I like the shape of the formation. This is the best 4-4-1-1 shape that you can get. When you put them on, let's say inside forward, it becomes more like a 4-2-3-1. Let's say I put Gijaro on playmaker, right? See, she'll advance forward. It will break the shape of my formation. I want to keep the shape of 4-4-1-1. For that very reason, I use these instructions. Now that it makes sense to you, you can tweak these tactics to your liking and make them even better. Build up style. Short passing is really good, but if you are going to use short passing, you need to use more manual runs. It is very safe, but again, you need composure, right? Because on short passing, sometimes you can get pressed in your build up. Otherwise, counter is also very... For 4-4-1-1, build up style balanced is really good in the current meta, especially when you have to manually trigger the runs. Manual runs being everything in this game. Like you see in my gameplay videos, you hear me talk about it, and that is for a reason, right? I'm using 71 def like Afonso. However, there are many players who prefer balanced depth, right? So if you feel that your defense is lacking and team is pressing a lot and you are leaving too many gaps, especially against the first time through balls and lob through balls and through balls in general, in that very case, I would suggest that you guys use balanced and not 71 like I am using. But me, I'm going to keep 71 depth. I like to press the opponent. I like auto offside traps. I like that stuff. Yes, give that to me. If it's in the game, I'm going to use it. So this is my 4-4-1-1 when I'm starting out a game, right? Do I change it? Yes. If I'm lacking a goal and I need to put bodies forward, I give Alexia shadow striker, right? I would give one of them box to box and one of them playmaker. This is all you have to think about. You have to get good at reading the game. Being smart tactically is also a skill which you need to develop, right? Copying tactics like a dog will only take you so. This is the tactics code. Please do not spam code in the comments. 4-2-1-3, a really good formation, very similar to the 4-4-1-1. The difference is that we have wingers instead of wide midfielders, and we have CDMs instead of what? Instead of CMs. Should we use wide half and wing back, something like this on the 4-2-1-3? My answer to that question is yes, it is viable. You can use it, but you need to be careful and you need to understand the shape of this formation. Don't put both of them as wide half, as it will create a massive gap in the middle of the pitch and you would end up leaving too much space in behind the midfield, right? So that's not what you want to do. So if you are playing one of the wing backs as of attacking wing back or a wing back, in that case you can use wide half for this formation. It is really good. On the wingers for this formation, I would suggest have one on wide playmaker and inside forward, or both on inside forward. Don't use winger, as it will really isolate your attacks. Wing back wingers and wide midfielders are different. There's a reason I use my wide midfielders as wingers, as I explained. But for out and out wingers, your attack will feel too isolated. The center of the pitch, like this CM, your ST, he will be left alone, right? So in that case, use inside forward. Now, when should you use the 4-2-1-3 and when should you use the 4-4-1-1? See, start the game in a 4-4-1-1. If you see that the opponent is really better than you, then you should switch to the 4-2-1-3 and use short passing, hold the ball more, play 68 depth, and try to look for the balls in behind. Put numbers behind the ball. And that is how you can win against tough teams in tough matches. It is all about being smart tactically. Having a high pressure formation is important. The high pressure formation I use to get back into the games is undoubtedly the 4-2-4. And this is how it looks like. Inside forward, both of them on box to box. And our wing backs are going to be attacking wing backs. Keeper is going to be sweeper keeper. I do it manually in game, but I would suggest that if you can have a preset, that is better, because sometimes you cannot pause the game. Let's say I have someone like Van Nistelrooy off the bench and he has poacher plus, I would give them the poacher role. Now again, it is all about throwing bodies forward, right? So basically this formation becomes almost like a 2-6 in attack, right? It is all about throwing bodies forward. Do not use it when you are drawing. Only use it when you're chasing a game. Okay, this is the code for this formation. Don't spam code. That is the mantra. And this is the code for the 4-2-1-3. I've already shown you the code for the 4-4-1-1. Now check this video out here to actually see how Classic 10 plays in game.